welcome to a quick video on database revision for your Term 3 examination. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things that you may come across during your exam. And some of the things we're going to cover from this video will include how to create your database and import records into the database table. And then the second thing we're going to look at is handling those import errors that will come up, and then how to read and understand the import error table that is usually created in Access database. The next thing is to look at how to modify fields, properties, and the data type. And then we're going to look at forms, that is how to create your forms, how to enter records into the forms, and how to save those records. And then finally we look at queries, and possibly if it will come up, we'll look at how to create a very simple report from your queries. Okay, so let's begin. I have a folder here with 3 files. We have a question. Let me open that up, and then I can just cascade that here. And then we have the evidence document. So I'll just cascade that here. So, alright, so first things first, you'll be required to prepare your evidence document. And to do that, it says create a Word document, which you've done, or which has been provided for you there. So in case they ask you to create it, you can just simply create it. And then it says save the Word document as evidence, followed by your first name and last name. So in the case where you've opened up the evidence document, you can just save it. But in this case, I'll do a save as, because I already had one open here. So I'm putting it in the same folder location. It is always very important to make sure all the files you're working with, both the ones you create and the ones that are given to you, are stored in the same folder. So it says we should save it as evidence, followed by our name and class. So I'm just going to use, let me use my name. So I'm going to put my name here. Then I'll just use any class. Let me just call this 9F for instance, or even 9G. The class doesn't exist, but I'll work with that. So if I look at my work area folder, you can see that my evidence document has been created. Okay, so it says you will need to place screenshots of your work in this document. So at this point, this is where you need to check to see if your evidence, your snipping tool is open. If it's not, you can just quickly bring that up. Okay, so I have that open. So the first one, it says create a database and save it in your folder with the name CATS record. So to do this, I'll go to my work area folder. It's actually a simple way of doing this. You can just come to new and see Microsoft Access, and then you can just save that as CATS record. Okay, so another option that you could use is, oh yeah, it's all capital data. So let me rename that. Another way you can use to create the database, you can right click if you're using and do new, and then from here you can choose Microsoft Access database. Okay, moving forward, using a suitable database package, let me use my highlighter. Alright, import the file kites, j10kites.csv. So this is the file j10kites.csv. So we need to open our database. Make sure you enable content, and then I think I can just pin this for now. Okay, so I'm going to go to external data. Now I told you every time they ask you to import or export a file, you go to external data. So under external data, I'm going to click on new source, and then I'm going to go to from file and then choose text file. Now this is if you're using the 2019 version and 2021 version of Microsoft Office. But if you're using 2016 and below, once you come to external data, somewhere around the import section, you're going to see where it says text file. So in this case, we're using this method. So I'm going to browse for the file that I need, which is on my desktop. And then I have a folder called database revision. And then this is the file I need. And I'll click open. Now I'm choosing the first option because it says import the source data into a new table in the current database. What this will do is while importing the record, it's going to create the database for me. Click OK. I am not doing anything here, so I'll click next. Now this part is always very important. You need to always check the first row of your record to see if it has been given, or each field have been given a field name. So if I look at the first record, I can see that each field here has a field name. So for instance, this field here is called make, this field is called the model, this field is called the size, this field is called the price, level, win condition, and so on. And if you look at the table given to you here, you can see that the field names were already specified here, which we can find at the top row here. So if that is the case, then you need to check first row contains field names, okay, before you click on next. So at this point, this is where you can specify the data types for each field, which was given here. So the first one, make, is text, so I'll leave it as short text. Second one is also text. Okay, so this is saying double. I'll leave it as is for now, or I can just change it to single. And then the price should be currency. Text, text, text. This is number, integer, and then this is boolean. So that's yes, no. And I'll click on next. I'll say let access choose my primary key. Click on next. I'll leave this as is and finish. So no need to save import steps, and I'll click on close. Now what I can do is to make sure this confines to the property specified. So I'll go to the design view by right clicking and click on design view. Now make a text, the size is number single, and then they set to 1 decimal place, so I can actually specify the 1 decimal place here. And then the currency, by default is already 2 decimal place, but I can still specify currency, number of decimal place, I can say 2. That's if you want to do that. Text, text, number, and then boolean. Now the yes no, you can specify the format how you want it to appear, whether it should be yes, no, true or false. So I'll just choose yes, no here. Now this is what they want you to do. They said take a screenshot of the field names and data types used. Now it is only in the design view of your table you'll be able to see the field name and the data type. Any other screenshot you're providing outside this place will be wrong for this type of question. Okay? So it says type evidence 1, field, and data type used. So let me take my screenshot. Now when you want to take your screenshot, please make sure you set it to rectangular mode. Okay? And then click on new. And this is the proper way to take your screenshot of this. So if I put this in my evidence document under this place, Now you can see that the table name is showing here, all the fields are showing, and all the data types are showing. This is the right way to take your screenshot. Moving forward. Now it says insert the following two records into the table below using a form. So to do that, you need to create the form. So let's create the form. First of all, we're going to close the table. They ask you to save, say yes. Then we're going to go to create, and then we're going to choose form wizard. So this is the only table we have. So we need to move all the fields to the table, and then we'll click on next. Now it's usually the most default one is the columnar. So sometimes they tell you create a columnar data entry form. Alright, then we'll click next. And then they said we should title the form as data entry form. So this is where you add the title. Data entry form. Please take note of the capital letters and small letters. Now once that is done, I can now say open form, and then we have the form here. Alright, so we can now move or add the following records. So to add the following records, from your home menu, you can see the new icon here, or you can use the ones at the bottom here. So this is new, okay, this is next record, and the rest. So I want to create a new record. I'll come here and say new. I don't have to enter the ID because that will be auto generated for me. So what I'll do is I'll say rush, and then next one is flow. This is 898.95, and then the scale level is beginner, and then we have low, we have height, soft, that's a small letter, and then we have 2, and then it says yes, so I'll check that for yes. Now once you're done with this, you need to take a screenshot of this and put that in, okay? So again, I'll use my snipping tool to take my screenshot. So I'll say new, and then take the screenshot like this. Again, please take note of the way I am taking the screenshot. You can see from the way I'm doing it, I have the first one still showing the title of the form, and then all the records is fully visible. And then I'm going to take the second one. So first of all, I need to go and enter the new record there. So I'll say new again, and then I'll start with code. Alright, so always remember to save your evidence document. I've been saving by doing Ctrl S, so you can also use that shortcut key. Now the next thing it says is for you to create a query. So you create a query, and then the query should show only the records where the make is Peterlin and the skill level is intermediate. So let's go ahead and create our query now. So I can close the form and then go to create and then use the query wizard. So I'm creating a simple query. I'm using all the fields from the table and I need to see detailed records, and then I'll go to modify query design. I'll check modify query design and then I'll click finish. Okay, so it says show only the records where the make is Peterlin and then the skill level is intermediate. So under make, I'll say Peterlin. So I need to run this every time I do it. So I'm saying all the Peterlins, and then it says the skill level, which is here, is intermediate. Intermediate, and I need to run that to check. Okay, so clearly I'm having an issue here. I can see Peterlin, but I'm also seeing some other files, and then okay. So that means there's something wrong with my spelling. Intermediate. Okay, let's just save time and copy this. Oh, now I see where the error is. I typed it under the or section. So let's be careful with that, okay? And then here we are. So it's all intermediate skill level and then all Peterlin. So I have a total of 17 records. Now it says you should take a screenshot of the record gotten and place copy of screenshot into your evidence document, okay? And type number of records. Yeah. So in this case, they didn't say you should take the screenshot of the criteria used, or rather the screenshot of the record gotten. Okay. So to do this, I need to make sure all my fields are showing, and then I'm going to say new and copy just like this. And then I'm going to paste that inside my evidence document. Now it says take a screenshot of the criteria used. Okay, so now they're asking the screenshot of the criteria used. So to do this, I'll go back to my database and then go back to the design view. Now this is where the criteria is used, so I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And take a screenshot just like this. Now notice I'm not taking a screenshot of the full window, but just that particular area where the data is. So I'm going to paste that here. For some of these I can adjust it. Just make sure when you're adjusting your window or your screenshot, you don't reduce it so much that it's difficult for the examiner to see what is in your screenshot. Because remember, it's going to be printed, and despite the fact that it's showing a bit wide on your screen, might not be the outcome when your evidence document is printed. So I'm going to save my evidence document, and then I'm going to save my database query. So I can just click on save here. Now, if for some reason they ask you to produce a report based on the query used, it is very simple. All you just need to do is run the query. When it's showing like this, you go to create and then you go to report and just click report. So from the look of things here, you see the report has been created. Okay? Now, what we can do here is to do some adjustment. Now, notice that as the report was created, it showed us some certain things. So we have some new menus here. Report design layout, we have the arrangement, we have the format, and then we have the page setup. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the setup from portrait to landscape. Okay. How do I know it's not in landscape? I can follow this vertical dotted line to tell. See, portrait, landscape. And then the next thing I need to do is to make sure that my report has a proper name. So let me just call this kite report. I can just call this Peter Lynn Kite report, or whatever appropriate name they give to you for the title. Okay. Now the next thing I can do is from my layout view. So this is my layout view. I can adjust the field here. So for instance, I want to adjust this field. I'll click on the field name, hold down Control on my keyboard, and then click on the field itself. So I can adjust it this way. Same thing I can do for the make. Same thing for the model. Remember, the trick is click on the field name, hold down Control on your keyboard, and then click on the details. Now I'm adjusting it, but I'm not adjusting it so much that it's actually cropping out any part of it, whether it's a label or the name itself. I think I need to add in space here. And a good tip to help you with this is whenever you're adjusting any field, always make sure you're using the longest field here. So in this case it's medium or wind condition actually to do that. Now in this case we have org/onboard, that's the longest text right. And then here it's number. And then here is stop after. So if you see this now, you'll see after adjusting my various fields, it's now within the margin. This is the margin for the print area for the report. Okay, so once I've done the adjustments, all I need to do is now to print. So how do I print? Let me move this in a bit. It shows a page. How do I print? That's simple. Come to view and go to your print preview. So it gives you a proper view of how the report is going to look like, and then you can click on the print icon and choose your printer before you print. Now this is one tip I want to give to you. Whenever you're doing a task like this, instead of wasting time waiting for your turn to print, what you can do is simply print and save your work as PDFs by choosing the Microsoft Print to PDF, and then you click OK. Now it's going to ask you to save the file. You save it inside your work area folder. In my case it's database revision, and then I'll give it an appropriate name. So I'll call this report printout, or I can just call this printout 1 or printout 2 or 3 or 4, depending on the number of printouts you have. So once you're done with all your tasks, you can now go ahead and print that report. You'll find it inside the folder because you saved it there. Alright, that's pretty much all for the revision. So just again, a recap of what we looked at. We looked at how to create and import our database. We looked at how to enter records using forms and how to create the forms. We looked at queries, and then we've also looked at how to create the reports. Okay, that's all from me.